Hey fellas, your commissioner here, coming at you for a little laggy. No, my old bag. I'm always worried about it. Coming at you for a little week 16 of NFL action. It's week 16. The season is over. For us anyway. Obviously the NFL has one more week, but essentially this is the last week of the regular season. For most teams, certainly for our league. As you can see, very Christmassy. I got my Dwight Schrute sweater on, Bears beats, snowflakes. I got a fireplace going, try not to catch on fire. Got the Christmas tree here, Santa hat. I got the nativity scene over here all set up. So, we're here in the Christmas spirit to celebrate the last week, our championship week. So, um, of course, there will be another video here within the next couple weeks, we'll say, couple weeks. Our second annual end of the year awards ceremony. So we got a poll that'll be coming your way here pretty soon. Got to work on some new categories for this year. If you've got any ideas on what some potential awards and candidates could be, please send them my way. I don't know why I asked, because I know none of you will do it. But if you do, great. So, yeah. Last week we had semifinal matchups. Potential horse ass was decided. It actually ended up being decided last week as well. Earlier this week. But let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So, we'll start off with our... Who was the game of the week? Son of a bitch. I know the teams. It was Plunk and Rip. And the sponsor was Tiddlywinks. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Give me just one brief moment. My videos, semifinal. Oh, David Sunflower Seeds, a jumbo sunflower seed for a jumbo matchup, of course. How could I have forgotten? Anyway, so let's get into a recap of that game. It did live up to the hype somewhat. Round two, at least for one team. Plunk manages to squeak out a win to get to the championship game, 178 to 128, won by a whopping 50 points in the semis. 128 is fine. It's a fine week, but this is the semifinals, Rip. You were the number 2 seed. You were the highest scoring team in the league, and you just got to be better, frankly. You got to be better. Obviously, he got put in quite the hole early on Thursday whenever Lamar drops almost a 50 burger right on his head. But, A.J. Brown continued to dominate. Tyreek Hill popped off. Devontae Parker popped off. And that's really all he needed was those three. Ertz caught a touchdown late. Not bad game from Rip, but, like I said, just solid. His team was capable of popping off, and unfortunately for him, it just didn't happen this week. And that'll find your ass out of the playoffs. So no repeat champion this season. And by golly, does Plunk look scary, I tell you that. Brings us to our second semifinal matchup. And folks, I tell you, Craig just continues to surprise me. The last 3 weeks, he has played well over his head. Well exceeded expectations. This guy, I've talked about it before, and I know he didn't go watch these videos because his team was doing bad, so he was pouting and crying. My team's not doing good, so I'm not going to watch the videos. Oh, but now your team's doing good, so now you watch the videos. I'll just tell you what I said about you, Craig. I mean, you were on a 5 or 6 game losing streak. The 2 games you won in between that losing streak, you barely won. You scored like 90 points and won one of them, and you outscored your opponent by like 1 point in the other one. And then you lost a game or two before that. So I mean, you could have been riding a damn 9 game losing streak to end the season and finish the season with like 3 or 4 wins with the rest of the trash. You didn't, of course. You won those 2 games. You won your last game to make the playoffs when you needed to win. And then, hey, what do? You knock off Nick, the only multi-time champion in the league. And then you knock off our #1 seed, best record in the league, and a team with a bye, 132 to 120. I mean, at this point, I'll be shocked if you don't win the league, Craig. I mean, your string of luck these last few weeks has been one of the greatest runs I've ever seen to end the season. I mean, very Rip-esque from last year. I'll just say that. So, anyway, he's really carried by Michael Thomas, of course. Michael Thomas is the reason that he's been balling out these last few weeks. Tyler Higbee's found a gem there. The Nick Chubb trade worked out well, and Carson Wentz. Because other than those 4, 3 points, 4 points, 6 points, 10 points. I mean, nothing. And he's still able to put up 132. Unfortunately for Duncan, I mean, this is what happens. He only had McCaffrey on his team, really. And McCaffrey's very good. McCaffrey dropped almost 40 points. I mean, far and away, I think the most valuable player in fantasy. Maybe you can make the argument between him and Lamar. But, he starts Patrick Laird, nothing out of them. Jared Cook came back down to reality. Nothing out of Deontay Johnson. I mean, he just didn't have any receivers the whole year. He was very fortunate to be 10-2, to have a first-round bye, to be the #1 seed. Very fortunate. He was about a middle-of-the-pack team scoring-wise, really. And if you take McCaffrey off, I don't know if this team wins any games, to be honest. So, good for him. I mean, outside of DJ Moore, that's really his downfall. Obviously, the Marlon Mack pickup did not work out as well as he had hoped. So, Duncan falls out of the playoffs. And hey, valiant effort. I mean, this is a guy, I think this is the first time he's ever made the playoffs, I believe, since he's been in the league. Obviously, I've had high hopes for him the whole time he's been in the league. He's been an utter disappointment up until now. Was he a little lucky to be in the position he was in? Sure, but this team definitely deserved to be in the playoffs. It's unfortunate to see him go out without even winning the game. Our #1 seed. Both teams had bye, don't even win a game in the playoffs. I guess I'll make the argument that hey, it's anybody can be beat in this league at any time. So we'll go with that and make the losers, sad boy pooped in their pants, feel a little bit better about themselves. Nick puts a beat down, 186 on Hawk. Game didn't really matter for anything. Blaine was not able to fulfill his wishes or his goal of trying to outscore all the playoff teams. Now he did almost outscore all the remaining playoff teams. He put up 150, so he would have still lost the plunk if he managed to play him. But JD dropped 167 out of nowhere. Like I said, JD has a dangerous team. Nobody believed me. He just had some bad luck this season. He was prone to bust. He's a very boom-bust team. But, I mean, when his team's on, it's easily one of the best in the league. So, and Blaine as well. I mean, Blaine had one of the best teams, period, in the league. So, and then, Fat Bastards token. It did matter for Ford. Ford was playing to not have a shot at winning the horse ass. He managed to win 127 to 122. Savoy wasn't really playing for anything, had no motivation. Still tried to line up out there, 120. I mean, that's just what you're going to get out of Savoy all season. So maybe a little less sometimes, but certainly no more. And then that brings us to, the game where I put my little balls right out there on the line. I said, hey, if Wilson somehow finds a way to beat me, then I'm taking the horse ass. And boy, was I sweating bullets coming out of Thursday night. Jameson Crowder, out of nowhere, gets 2 touchdowns, drops 27 points. And I'm just like, ah, shit, man, here we go again. I'm thinking, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to get the horse ass. And as Sunday goes along, Rodgers doesn't do a whole lot. But Devontae Adams pops off, and my team's not really doing a whole lot. Chris Godwin had a good game, but then he gets hurt. But I go into Monday night down about 15 points. I got Drew Brees left. He's got Latavius Murray. I'm feeling pretty good, but I'm thinking in my head that Drew B needs probably at least 25 for me to pull this out. Fortunately, Drew Brees, threw 4 touchdowns going after that record, drops almost 40, and I win 131-113. I needed this. I don't know how I can explain this to you guys. I can't put into words how good this made me feel. This made my season. This made up for all, and I know it's so sad and pathetic to say this, and how sad and pathetic this sounds, but hey, you're talking to a Razorback fan. This is how sad it's become in the football world for us. I was yelling and hooting and hollering all over the house whenever Breeze got that 4th touchdown. Because it guaranteed me to not have the horse ass. And it was just a relief. And hopefully I can take this momentum. I'm sure Blaine's going to kick my ass this week. We'll get into that, maybe, not really, but I can use this momentum to propel myself. I was able to feel what winning feels like again, what winning an important game feels like. I haven't won an important game where something's at stake for me in a long time, like 4 years. And by golly, I did it. You'd say what you want about the competition. He still put up 114, not bad. But hey, I'm going to take this. My team's going to take this, and look out next year. We're going to make things happen. All right. But anyway, so that left us with the dilemma of, well, Wilson's the only team that doesn't have a win. Savoy is playing Wilson this week. We'll just go ahead and get into that. And it left me in quite the predicament, because usually we have 2 0-2 teams playing for the horse ass. Well, obviously that wasn't going to be the case because Ford managed to find a way to win. So I talked to Wilson and Savoy and said, hey guys, Savoy, I can't make you do this. I can't make you do what I did. If I was in your position, I certainly wouldn't do it. But if you want to, you can put your honor on the line and say, hey, if Wilson beats me, I'll take the horse ass. Because then everybody would have at least one win. Savoy decided not to do that, which is perfectly fine, perfectly within his rights. So essentially the game doesn't matter, because if Wilson loses, he gets it, and if he wins, Savoy's already said that he's not going to take it. So that leaves us with Wilson as the horse ass. Now, I hope Wilson still, sets his lineup, plays a good game. I hope Savoy does the same. And hopefully the cards fall as they should, and Savoy wins the game and Wilson loses. Because if Wilson somehow finds a way to win, I will feel a little icky, and I probably will still make Savoy do a little something of punishment for losing that game. But like I said, Wilson will be the horse ass. That's also upcoming within the next few weeks to determine what the punishment exactly is going to be. I'll probably use the list that we voted on last year, maybe add one, take away one, add a couple, something like that. But anyway, that's what we got. All these other games don't really matter. I can't even really break down the horse ass game because, like I said, there's not really a game. So really, that just leaves us with our championship game and what the sponsor will be. So let's figure out who that sponsor is gonna be. It's the big one. It's the last one of the year. Let's see. Um, well, I don't think I've. All right, here we go. I'm coming back. I know we've done this before, but I don't think I've done it this season. If I have, oh well, it's a good one. Our championship game presented by Jif Creamy Peanut Butter. Jif is the creamy peanut butter. It's non-GMO, gluten-free. It's got 7 grams of protein per serving. About 14 servings in this one. Does have a high fat percentage, so watch out for that. Got a little bit of sodium in it. It's actually got a lot of saturated fat too, which is not, well, it's okay. No trans fat. The trans fat, I think, is the bad one. Maybe it's saturated fat. I don't remember. I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian, whichever one it is. Does have added sugars, which I know is bad, but hey, it's got protein in it, right? So try to get big and strong. Trying to get back and go in the gym. I went today, but it's made from roasted peanuts and sugar, and it's got some other stuff in it. Hey, it supports the Boys and Girls Club. That's where I used to work in college. So Jif Peanut Butter, the official peanut butter of our championship game and our fantasy football league. A little dollop up there. I feel like Nick Wheeler doing this. Ain't it straight from the source. Pretty good. I see why Nick does it. He's a psycho for doing it, but I see why he does it. Who would have thought this before the season? Craig, Millen's understudy, versus Plunk in the Dirty Birds of War. Now, Craig is playing behind the 8 ball here. I mean, he's certainly stacked up against Goliath. It's David versus Goliath in this matchup. That being said, Plunk is not unbeatable, especially with the Dalvin injury. Dalvin Cook looks like he's not going to play. Calvin Ridley's not going to play. So that door is cracked open for certain. We'll just start off with the quarterback. Now, I know Craig is undecided at quarterback. Looks like he's probably going to go with Wentz. So Wentz at home against Dallas versus Lamar and Cleveland. I mean, you just can't go against Lamar. Really, all Craig is hoping to do is that Lamar just has a decent game where he only scores like 30 points, and he can find a quarterback that keeps it close. Obviously, we're going to give the edge to Plunk and Lamar. If Craig somehow finds a way to win this one, I mean, that's one of the keys, the Kia keys to victory. Little spoiler alert, Kia. I almost bought a Kia today, Telluride. Backed out at the last minute. They got one in. It matched almost all my specs, but not quite. And it was actually more expensive for stuff that I didn't exactly want. So I couldn't pull the trigger on it. But But buddy, I was this close. Fellas, I was this close to having a new vehicle and probably not doing this video tonight because I'd still be the dealership doing money stuff. So alas, the vehicle that I ordered, the Telluride I ordered, is coming in probably here within the next month and a half or so. Hopefully sooner. Fingers crossed. But anyway, that's one of Craig's keys to victory here is to win the battle of the quarterback. If he can find the way to beat out Lamar with whoever he puts in there, he's got to do that to have a shot at winning. Battle of the running backs, we got Royce Freeman, Alvin Kamara versus Nick Chubb and Phillip Lindsay. So this is interesting now. Royce Freeman has fallen off the last probably like 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Early in the season, he was averaging about 10 points a game or so. Phillip Lindsay's been a stud all year. But really, all across the board, you don't really have great matchups anywhere. At Tennessee, are the good Titans going to show up or the bad Titans going to show up? I feel like we're due for a good Titans game, especially at home. But, New Orleans is really hot right now. They're getting Kamara going. Chubb should be severely limited by Baltimore. So I'm going to have to give the slight edge to Craig just because Plunk doesn't really have a good option at RB2. So we'll give the slight edge to Craig in that one, but it's close. And then battles of the receivers, we got Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Christian Kirk versus Brashad Perriman, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Parker. Now, on paper, this looks like a blowout if you just were looking at the names. But Brashad Perriman is the #1 wide receiver. 3 other receivers in Tampa Bay are out with hamstring injuries, which is crazy to me. Tyreek Hill at Chicago might be slowed down just a little bit. And Devontae Parker continues to just be dominant and just, bust ass all season. So playing against a bad Cincinnati team. Now, you got Michael Thomas at Tennessee. Michael Thomas is basically matchup proof. Emmanuel Sanders hopefully should be able to avoid Jalen Ramsey. He's going to have to if he wants to have any prayer of winning. Of just succeeding in that matchup. And then we'll see if Christian Kirk can bounce back. I'm going to have to give the edge to Plunk. Now, another key to victory for Craig here is Michael Thomas needs to just absolutely go banana land and drop over 30 points. If that doesn't happen, I think Plunk far and away runs away with the wide receiver. He needs Michael Thomas to go bananas and Emmanuel Sanders to have another very good game, or Kirk, one of the two. Otherwise, he's going to be in trouble. Battle of the tight end, we got Zach Ertz and O.J. Howard. You never know what you're going to get out of O.J. Howard, so we're going to have to go with Ertz in that one. But it does help Craig that, 3 pass catchers are out for Tampa Bay, so maybe they'll finally use O.J. a little bit. And then Battle of the Flex, we got A.J. Brown and James Washington. Pretty gross matchup. I'm sure Craig will probably either throw in Boston Scott or Greg Ward. I would not start James Washington. Boom or bust. You're basically banking on him getting a long touchdown. If that doesn't happen, he's going to tank you. And A.J. Brown has been flying in the sky really high these last few weeks. Everyone keeps anticipating a letdown game, and boy, would it be a real shame if it were to happen. This week. I wouldn't be surprised to see Plunk get scared and throw in Thielen there at the last minute. But if he's got the cojones to keep riding the A.J. Brown train out, then that's what wins championships, So I'm going to have to push the flex just because I'm not sure. I think that's the final key to victory for Craig. If he can nail that flex matchup and get a decided advantage there, he's going to win this game. So ultimately, I just don't see Craig has too many things that has to go right for him. Plunk more so has to have things go wrong for him to lose. So we're gonna go plunk your to be your 2019 league champion, league name TBD champion. Um, that's all I got. So, thanks for watching, fellas. It's been a fun, exciting season. A lot of trades. One of the most active seasons in history. Um, hold on, just one second. You here? Okay. Okay. All right. I'm just finishing up the video. I don't have you on speaker. No, it's almost done. I have like here. All right. All right. All right. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Obviously, it's been a fun, exciting season. One of the best seasons in league history. Very close. A lot of parity. Who would have thought that we'd have Craig and Plunk in the finals? But hey, here we are. Obviously, like I said, there will be one more video this season, the end of the year award show coming in a few weeks, probably just after the start of the new year. But other than that, happy Christmas. Hopefully everyone is travel safe. I'll be up in Northwest Arkansas from tomorrow evening through probably Christmas Day. And I can't wait. Hopefully I can see some of y'all. To our two championship teams, best of luck, and to the rest of you, be safe. All you be safe, but you guys don't need luck. So you could have used that earlier in the year. That's all I got. So Merry Christmas and woo pig.